Okay, we are going to finish up this second week of the course by jumping into the following method, which has some contributions for us and some ideas to be adapted as well. Without further ado, let's have a look at Suggestopedia. This method was proposed by Georgi Lozanov, a Bulgarian psychotherapist in the 1970s. As you can deduce, this method addresses psychological matters to make learning stronger. This method was proposed so that people were able to teach a foreign language by making students feel very comfortable in their learning environments. Physical surroundings are vital in this method. If students feel comfortable, they will be more likely to feel confident in the language. They will lower their anxiety levels and therefore their results and outcomes in the foreign language are going to be a lot better. This method happens in 3 different moments. The first one is deciphering. Here, the teacher introduces the grammar by using the mother tongue. Well, again, just like we learned from week 1, this is definitely something that we don't advise, because we know that there are so many ways to engage students into learning and to seduce students into a specific topic for the first time. We can, and we should, adapt this. We can have students decipher directly in English or in the language that they are learning. Deciphering makes students' brains feel not only challenged, but also attracted to understand what is happening. Second, concert session. In this part of the lesson, students listen to the teacher reading a text while classical music is being played as a background. Wow, this is not something that we should do, right? Especially when it comes to only listening to the teacher instead of having students speak with each other. However, playing classical music at a very subtle volume could help the environment of the lesson to be more brain stimulating as long as it is very low and as long as it doesn't distract students. Third one, elaboration. Students practice through acting, singing, and playing the language that was introduced by the teacher. This, in turn, can happen in different moments too. The first one is introduction. Here, the teacher introduces playfully the lexis and the grammar to be worked on. There is no space for analysis yet. The second one in this elaboration stage is, again, a concert session. Here, students read a text together, emphasizing on their intonation while classical music is being played at the background. Third one, elaboration again. Here, students sing classical songs and play pedagogical games while the teacher acts more like a consultant. Last but not least, production. Students speak spontaneously and interact in English or the language that they are learning, and teachers don't correct or interrupt because the focus comes to fluency and not accuracy. Well, as you can see, this method is quite specific. Before, when this method was very current, teachers who wanted to bring this in the classroom needed to be trained by certified people. As we just saw, there are quite a number of limitations to this method, but there are some ideas that we can take and adapt. Let's set the environment with appropriate music at a subtle level to stimulate students' production without distracting them. Our classrooms need to be friendly and anxiety-free environments, but seriously, spaces in which students feel motivated towards the language and don't feel afraid of making mistakes. We must not let students make fun of each other's English and ideas. This method is not teacher-centered, so this is why it contains ideas from which we can benefit. Teachers' explanations are carefully thought so that they are transparent and very clear to the students. In this method, it is highly important that students feel that their teachers are reliable and that they can trust and admire what they learn from them. Some final thoughts about this method are the following. Lessons for children are shorter and less complex according to Suggestopedia. This is done so that students are prevented from negative pedagogical suggestions from society. Researchers say that this method favors not only language learning, but any subject that students may be learning about. It has been proven to improve students' health and psychological associations with other subjects. What an interesting method that we can and that we need to adapt. One last final comment about this method is that it used to be called desuggestive learning, because when it was called Suggestopedia, it used to be associated to hypnosis. Now that we covered this method, the task is now for you. In one paragraph, please describe a lesson that you would teach by using this method. Thank you so much for joining this second week of the course, and let's share our reflections.